This is the Defenders podcast on TV Podcast Industries, and we're talking about Marvel's Winderbaum, Episode 2.
Oh, will you look at that? Simon Williams needs help with an audition, wants me to come over.
You see, my friend, that is great news. Why aren't you texting him back?
I wouldn't want him to think I'm just sitting around all day waiting for someone to text me.
Okay. I think we've waited long enough.
I'll handle the role of Trevor Slattery if you don't mind. Okay.
Welcome back, fellow Defenders, fellow lovelies, to TV Podcast Industries, where you're listening to the Defenders podcast. And we're chatting about Marvel's Winderbaum, Episode 2. I'm one of your hosts, John.
I am one of your hosts, Derek.
And I am Chris. I wanted to do as great as a pregnant pause as Trevor Slattery. I just wanted to really just let people sit with it.
Yeah, because they can't think that you're sitting around all day just waiting to podcast, Chris.
No. I will do the role of Chris. There shall be no more and no other than me, than I. There you go.
Very good.
Excellent, yes.
I think the stage beckons, Chris. The stage beckons. The Abbey Theatre.
It beckons me forward into the stage door hole. That just the trap door. It's like, come forward. Oh, there we go.
Indeed.
Close it.
Actually, again, another really interesting snippet here when he's showing the pictures of him and his mother on the plane. And they're outside the Royal Court Theatre in Liverpool. I recognise it. I've been there many times.
Yes, of course, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right by St. John's Tower.
Yeah.
So, yes, again, another little snippet there. You wonder, are they some of Ben Kingsley's pics? Who knows?
Is this his actual mother in the photographs, maybe?
Who knows? Exactly. So, again, I think we should get into our spoiler-filled discussion.
I think we should, yeah, absolutely. After the second episode.
Indeed. But I guess before we do that, as always, remember, fellow Defenders, you can head on over to our website at tvpodcastindustries.com, where you can subscribe to the podcast on any good or evil podcast catcher of your choice. You can also send in your feedback to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com. And of course, we're over on Facebook with our group at facebook.com/groups/TV Podcast Industries.
Yeah, so excited to hear the thoughts of our fellow Defenders on these shows. We are recording these a little bit early, so we have no idea what anybody thinks of these episodes, so we just have to go by ourselves, and we're really enjoying them.
Yeah. Absolutely loving it like that.
Loving it large. I know. I can't do a Scouse accent. It is just going to be too bad.
That was a London accent.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no, I can't believe it.
You just have to go that nasally high-pitched bit.
No, I told you before, there is a trick that John's family taught me to get the accent, which is the chicken's shocking. And if you
the chicken's shocking?
The chicken's effing shocking, I guess.
Yeah. If you get all three of those to rhyme together, then you can be taken into a family in Liverpool.
I never leave.
Exactly. But let's get into this second episode of the show. Executive produced for this series are Kevin Feige, Stephen Broussard, Jonathan Schwartz, Louis D'Esposito, Brad Winderbaum, Destin, Daniel Cretton, and Andrew Guest, of course. The show was created for television by Destin, Daniel Cretton, and Andrew Guest, and the episode again written by Andrew Guest and directed by Destin, Daniel Cretton. John, do you want to tell us what they gave us with your synopsis for the second episode of Marvel's Winderbaum?
Sure. A short while ago, after flying back to LA to reignite his acting career, Trevor Slattery was instantly arrested by the Department of Damage Control for his role as the Mandarin. Agent Cleary offers Trevor a way out of his return to prison if he brings evidence of the dangerous powers of Simon Williams. Meanwhile, following his audition for Von Kovak's Wonder Man, his agent Jannelle calls him. The casting director for the movie wants to give him a shot in a smaller indie movie. It's a bit part where he'll play a waiter. All that's needed is a quick self-tape of his lines and he's got the cameo. This will be great for his career, but the pressure gets to Simon and his powers rise, exploding out like an earthquake inside his apartment. Unable to use his apartment for the self-tape, Simon reaches out to Trevor for help. After several more failed attempts, Trevor brings him to his former co-star Joe Pantoliano's house as a favour. When Simon and Trevor clash with Joey Pants over his lack of respect for the art of acting, they leave. Dramatically. With a new respect between the two, Simon invites Trevor to his apartment, where they finally record the perfect self-tape and submit it to his agent. As Simon celebrates a successful submission, Trevor finds the damage from his superpowers, but pretends it doesn't faze him. I think Simon celebrates by going to the loo, doesn't he?
He goes for a shower, yes. He says he's completely worn out and needs some food. Yeah, that's his version of celebrating.
Yes, and they get a pizza.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. I have to say, straight off the top, I think this is an even funnier episode than the first one. Lots of satire here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And well done for Joey Pants for taking the piss out of himself in the way he does in this episode. It's really, really good.
Yeah. And I mean, right off the bat, you know, the Trevor on the plane with the lady next to him in the seats, you know, it talks about South Shore Hospital, and Joey Pantoliano as well. So yeah, it's there in the mind.
It is.
Because she recognizes him from that medical drama.
Yeah.
I guess a bit like ER or something like that.
Well, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Or Casualty in the UK.
Or Casualty in the UK, indeed. So yeah, I love this progression of how on earth are we going to get the audition tape done effectively.
Absolutely.
It's just, yeah, I love how it moves through multiple locations, and all the while you have Jannelle sort of, you know, wondering where the hell this short tape is, audition tape is, you know. Anyway, but let us get into our top 3 moments before I ramble on about the entire episode and spoil everything for my co-hosts. Shall we begin?
Mm-hmm. Quiet on set. Take 1. Action.
Yes, it is Agent Cleary.
Yes, a
and
returning
the Department
character.
of Damage Control, indeed.
Absolutely. Yeah, great to see Agent Cleary back here. And the Department of Damage Control, they've played a big role in the MCU, all the way back to Spider-Man Homecoming. That's the one with Michael Keaton, isn't it?
Yep.
Where he's trying to gather together all the stuff left behind after the Battle of New York, and his crew are taken off the project by the Department of Damage Control. So they've been in the background, always a bit nefarious, always interesting motives going on. We had Agent Cleary appear in Spider-Man Far From Home, this character from Damage Control, and then he also made a kind of a guest appearance in Miss Marvel. I was rewatching that a couple of weeks ago just to kind of find out because I couldn't remember exactly what their role in that was, and it's very similar to the role he has here in Wonder Man. Damage Control are after Simon Williams because he's got powers. In Miss Marvel, Damage Control are after the powered person that they've seen who turns out to be Miss Marvel. So again, they are in the background following and trying to find people who've got superpowers. So kind of cool that that's continued on here with this character.
Yeah, it's an interesting piece and kind of evolution of what Damage Control are as a department, as in the comic books and then in the show, because they started as, in the comic books, they're really just a construction type of things. They look after and clean up a lot, basically, the damage done by superheroes and supervillains.
Well, in the comics, they were actually a comedy comic.
Yeah.
Which I think, didn't DC do a TV show based on something similar, and
Yes.
Marvel were supposed to be doing a damage control the TV show, so that all got cancelled and thrown out the window because, the DC TV show lasted about 6 episodes, I think, as far as I remember. So they went, there's no point in us doing one of those. But yeah, they've kind of have a place here in the universe over the last 7 or 8 years now. Yeah,
And they're turning them into an almost pseudo shield in a world where shield is no more.
Yeah.
There is no shield for Homeland Security or anything like that in the MCU. So this seems to be their kind of de facto. They're protecting the US citizens from the scourge that is powered individuals.
Yes. Or non-powered individuals like Trevor Slattery, who is literally whisked off his feet before he's only just put his little dainty feet down onto US soil, arriving back in the USA.
I absolutely love the timing of the scene as he's talking to the passenger that was sitting beside him, and he's saying, it's time for me to come back to LA, which should be my home, and here make my mark again. And in the background, you can see the FBI guys circling and rounding on him and just taking him down like lions on a gazelle. It's hilarious.
It was really good. I mean, it's even like afterwards, as Agent Cleary is kind of giving him his 2 options, and they're showing Trevor footage of the Mandarin, him as the Mandarin. He's just there going, it's just acting. Yeah. It's just acting. It's like you can see the frustration in Agent Cleary. But here we see this is the man who was on the other end of the phone. Of those 2 options, Trevor very quickly takes up the one to work for damage control and to sort of effectively scout and tail Simon Williams to understand his true power set rather than go back to prison.
Yes.
Which he believes he has done his time.
But he hasn't.
But he hasn't, exactly.
So yeah, that's connected to the one shot where he was broken out of prison by the Mandarin, or Shang-Chi's father, and brought over to his compound, and then he was in Taolo. So that's where he's coming back from, I guess, on the flight. He hasn't been doing anything other than staying in that area, and then decides maybe it's time to resurrect my career, not realizing that it's still illegal to be in the country. You impersonated a terrorist. But I do like when they go through the clips. They show him pulling the trigger on one of the hostages, right? On screen. We never get to see what happens, but on screen he's supposed to be killing the hostage in front of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's pretending that's all
just acting.
That's all just acting. But that scene where everybody sees that on screen and sees him killing somebody, right?
Yeah,
as far as I remember. So, yeah. But what a great opening sequence.
Yeah, really good. Also, I think just the fact that, the passenger who is talking to throughout the flight and as they're walking through the airport basically drops him like a sack of spuds. Yeah. No, I'm not with him at all. As the FBI surround him. So, yeah, it's
Absolutely.
just nice moment.
I do like the way that Agent Cleary comes across in this, which is just that kind of by the book, must get it done.
Definitely.
Just kind of, within the course of this episode, you just get a sense of we don't like this character. You're not supposed to like this character. He's supposed to be the bad police, the bad kind of FBI agent, the bad agent.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's the good cop, bad cop, but in this, I think, undertones of situational comedy, is the straight man to the buffoon of Trevor Slattery.
Yeah.
And that's what makes, in a sense, his laying out of the facts. That's what I mean. The scene that they're showing him is really, really shocking. It's a gun to the head, an execution. And then you have Trevor kind of going, but it's just acting.
It's just acting, though. Yeah.
And it kind of, that contrast, that sort of just is really sort of interesting take here.
It is. And I guess the other thing with Agent Cleary is he knows that Simon Williams has powers for some reason, and the fact that he has to use Trevor Slattery to get the full incriminating evidence on Simon Williams is really pissing him off. That's the problem here, right? He knows in his heart of hearts Simon Williams is one of those dangerous heroes, a dangerous superpowered beings, and he wants him in custody, but he just doesn't have the evidence, and he has to use Trevor Slattery to do it. There's a great moment when they're sitting in the booth and talking about this, where he's like, I don't think we should have had to go for this whole audition. We should have been happy with Megan 3.0. Simon would have gone for that, right? And Trevor's like, look, I'm telling you, we went the right way here. And then they have that whole conversation about Trevor playing the role of Trevor Slattery and knowing how to play it. This guy should not interfere in this role for him. He will do everything, and he will get Simon Williams for Agent Cleary. But don't interfere with the process, love. You don't know anything about Hollywood.
No, exactly. So really it's really good. And I think moving on to our second moment.
Take 2. Action.
Yeah, it's basically Simon's self-tape, his audition tape here. And, it's kind of kicked off with Jannelle calling him annoyed that he's basically used her contact. But he has this opportunity now after the audition for Wonder Man, to do this audition tape. So, he starts to immediately overthink what he needs to do, whereas Jannelle's kind of like, just a few minutes to camera. The one that you've done previously, bish bash bosh, send it on, and I'll get it over so that you can be in this kind of indie small flick. So it just shows them what you can do and so on, and immediately starts to overthink the audition. He's looking to redo it again and again for that lead casting agent, and again gets stressed, hyperventilates, and again you just see the eyes changing and this kind of power blast that happens. Again, I really like the eyes. I think this is a really nice little touch, really subtle. I don't know what it is. I think because it's red, purple, purpley blue, there is a menace to it, which really comes across. And yet Simon Williams is such a great down-to-earth kind of guy, like in that sense. So I really, really enjoy it. It just adds a little bit of danger here, and suggests something, maybe less harmless than what Simon is.
Yeah, and in this episode, it is directly connected to Simon losing control and blowing out the windows of his apartment. The car alarms going off outside, all of that stuff is all caused by Simon losing control, whereas last episode, you're made to think maybe there is an earthquake going on, because we know the show. Obviously, we would expect that it's connected to Simon's powers, but there's no doubt here this is Simon's powers that cause it, which I think is great.
Exactly.
I also love Jannelle in this episode. It did make me think that she's the one that proposed that Simon do a small indie flick with them before they committed to giving him the role in Wonder Man, because she's so pissed off with him for using her contacts. That's what I kind of felt. I love where she's on the back of the golf cart going through the sets, going through the back lot of the studio, and she's saying to Simon, "Where is the tape? Right? All I want you to do is be normal, go method, be a normal person, record your lines, and get the bloody tape over to me now." Absolutely loved it. She's great.
But obviously he needs help, and texts Trevor.
So I suppose for me, it brings up seeing the explosion, the loss of control by Simon. It does make you wonder, what does damage control have something here? Like, was there, like, did he cause an accident in something, and like, are people dead because, like, it does make you go, is there something here to worry more about, or is it just kind of that kind of governmental scare tactic, like something I don't understand, so therefore it must be bad? And is he just being persecuted because he has powers?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting with the flashback, I think, in the first episode to his dad. Like, and then you don't get the sense of his family around, you know?
Yeah.
In his life anymore, for one reason or another. Is it connected to the powers? Is that why damage control? So I guess it would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
So in the comic books, Simon Williams and his brother are kind of both superpowered individuals, and they were Simon was experimented on by
Yes.
his father. So when we saw him in the first episode, I'm like, cool, maybe they lean into that in the future. It'll be interesting to see. I suppose this being the satirical, situational comedy, dramedy we're getting in this kind of within these first 2 episodes, I'm interested to see how much they do explore of the power part.
Yes.
Like, it's that kind of like, is this the studio in the MC? Like, I lean into the studio because it's the most direct comparison, because it is similar. But is this just a situational comedy, dramedy in the MCU? And because it's in these, there's a sprinkling of powers or people who there's a connection there, or is this going to be more widely connected?
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards, based on the end of this episode, it's more, I think it's just going to be a focus on that situational. It's that focus on the story of Simon Williams and Trevor Slattery. And because it's these 2 characters, that's all you need. Because, no offense, if it was someone not like Trevor Slattery and Sir Ben Kingsley, if it wasn't Simon Williams, I don't know if you could pull that off. But these 2 characters and 2 actors are so... Well, okay. Sir Ben Kingsley chews scenery when he is Trevor Slattery.
Absolutely,
And it's just, you're like, perfect. He just brings you in and along with it. And I think the more we get these 2 characters buddying up and like we do as the audition tape comes along, you're like, oh, okay, I could just sit and watch this for multiple episodes. And I think that's where you start to go, oh, okay, bring me with you. Tell me how you're going to get this this audition tape done.
I think for every season of TV for the last 20 years, every single season has had a new show about Hollywood, whether it be a massive drama or a comedy, satirizing Hollywood. There's always been a new show about this over and over again. They always say to writers, write what you know, and after a while living in Hollywood, all you know is the process of making movies, right? So, so that's kind of it. It seems like you're bereft of creativity when the only thing you can come up with is writing about going to the audition process, right? So, so they have to wade through a lot of different versions of this story. And I think, you're absolutely right, Chris. The thing they have in their back pocket here is having Yahya Abdul-Mateen and Sir Ben Kingsley in these 2 roles, just going up against each other throughout the episode. That's their special sauce that they have. But I will also say, with Destin Daniel Cretton behind the show, I suspect that we will see a lot of things from the comic, just not directly from the page to the screen. I think by the end of the series, we're going to actually have a lot of things that are very similar to the comic book. But his story at the beginning here is nothing like the character of Wonder Man. The original creation of Wonder Man, weirdly, he was created by Baron Zemo as a villain to fight against the Avengers and then join the Avengers. Like, that is nothing like anything we've seen on screen in these first 2 episodes. I don't think we're going to get anything like that by the end of the season, but it's really interesting what they may pull from different sources. Destin Daniel Cretton is well known as being a very well-versed comic book fan. So like he did with Shang-Chi, by the end of Shang-Chi, you actually did have quite a good origin story of the character, but you were dropped in right in the middle of his tale. So we might get something very similar for Wonder Man by the end of it. But you're totally right, Chris. I think these scenes where Trevor's helping out Simon throughout the episode are just really, really fun, and they get worse and worse as the episode goes on. From that first moment where Simon reaches out to Trevor by text to get him to help him out with his opportunity here.
I just think this is a really iconic kind of scene, actually. I know you've talked about it already, but, with the I'll do Trevor Slattery thing, but I think there's more to it than that. I think you see Trevor do the process. He says, he puts his book down, he's talking to himself, he's going through this whole thing, and it's like, with Agent Cleary's getting ever more impatient with the whole thing, wanting to respond, and he kind of says, well, just say, you'll see you in 20, and he's like, I'd never text a sentence fragment. And it's to your point, Chris, around, it's just pure scenery chewing, but so good. And in this moment between Trevor Slattery and Agent Cleary, that the straight cop, goofy cop, it just absolutely comes through wonderfully in that scene. And it's really also quite downplayed, but there's some real, like, great moments in that. But ultimately he does, and Trevor goes over to help. But again, is kind of left wondering what's happening, and immediately becomes apparent that, well, they're not going to do it in Simon's apartment because of what's just happened.
Yeah, the mission that Cleary gave him was to put a ring on Simon's computer so he can get all the data that he needs out of Simon's computer. And the minute he gets there, Simon walks him off and takes him down to a self-tape shop. He talks to Cleary, and Cleary's like, how did you mess this whole thing up instantly? Cleary just wants this done. He thinks this is going to be an afternoon and then it's all over. But
and Trevor's just kind of musing on how tragic the industry has changed, as everything's a self-tape, not a taped audition.
Yeah.
Just like, it's really nice. I kind of like this interplay, but yeah, it kind of doesn't work at this kind of higher a self-tape process.
Oh, the wonderful Marcy, who, when you sign the document, she has to read the lines off screen. You can't bring anybody else in to read the lines for you, because she's also a struggling actress who wants to get a role. Of course she would be. I love this stuff. I really enjoy it. I love, even the initial ones where we had Abdul Mateen doing the lines to himself on screen, and he's recording them multiple times over and over again, trying to get the timing right against himself, and all he's doing is saying, what's it, one line? Can I take your order, please?
Yes,
Isn't that, that's the line he's trying to get to, right?
So good.
Absolutely brilliant. But as they talk through it throughout the episode, Trevor Slattery is helping him get into the mindset of this waiter. Is there some connection between him and the other character that's in this scene? How are they going to work it out together? So he does really indulge Simon Williams in this method that he has.
Definitely, and I think none more so. I really enjoy it when it kind of completely fails at the hire a self-tape sort of building and company. The indulgence is that they go back to Trevor's apartment, and I love here how Simon Williams' eyes are just like light up. It's kind of like at the start of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, where he's got the golden thing. He's like, oh yeah, like, because there's all these books, these photos, all of this. He's kind of like in Aladdin's cave, really.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's just so good. There's one moment as well, because it just brings me back to various things, like where he talks about Coronation Street. He's like, and everyone did their stint. Famously, Ian McKellen did it kind of recently.
Yeah, well,
where he
post
came
Lord
back.
of the Rings, yeah.
Yeah, post Lord of the Rings. But also then Ben Kingsley did it in 1966. He was on Corrie. He started off, as well on the TV front in Corrie. So
do you know my favourite touch about this scene is where Simon Williams is telling him about the movie Turtle Diary that Trevor did with Glenda Jackson, and that by finding the turtles and freeing them, they freed themselves, and Trevor Slattery's going, oh, how did I never get that until now? Ben Kingsley was in the movie Turtle Diary with Glenda Jackson in 1984. So again, lovely little touches that they're throwing in of real appearances by this character. I'd also love the other tale that we get this episode, where Trevor tells the story of how he got his hands on the Hamlet skull, because you can't have your own Hamlet skull. It has to be passed down to you from people that have been in the play, and he talks about all the people that are in that have been in this version of Hamlet. And then one night it was left in the pub, and I nicked it. Fantastic.
I do hope he gives it to Simon later.
Yes.
Like, it's that kind of passing of the torch almost.
absolutely.
Although he should get it from somebody that plays Hamlet, that's the point. not somebody that nicked it.
Actually that Simon nicks it from the pub after Trevor leaves.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But Trevor's been sober for 13 years, unlike Richard Burton, who's the person that left behind the Hamlet skull.
Indeed. I think, and again, the neighbour is playing the music too loud. Again, the self-tape is thwarted in this moment at
that.
Aladdin's cave, aka Trevor's apartment.
They have just about enough time to set up for the tape before the drum and bass starts again.
Exactly. But I think we should go on to our third moment of the episode.
Gonna go one last time. Take 3. Action.
Because it's Joey Pants. They head on off to Joey Pantoliano's crib to do the audition tape here after the failed attempts previously.
This is fantastic. This whole scene, like, Joey Pants for me is iconic from The Matrix.
Yeah.
That's as the character and the scene and every aspect of it. And the ribbing he gives himself throughout this, the kind of the satirical version of himself he plays, I should say, is fantastic. And it's all about the property. He's gotten into property now, and that's how he does it. And it's just, it is what you would expect would expect from some actors, of that ilk and age and timing, and it just kind of rings true. But then the fun part is when he almost goes against. You have that we all have those friends who take one thing way too seriously. Like, we take the MCU too seriously. Absolutely. But we don't. If someone challenged us on it, we don't go crazy at them.
No, we just get on the podcast to talk about it with each other next time.
Exactly. I love how you have these two people who think acting is an art form and things like that. And you have this third actor who is just like, no, it's a way for me to make money and just get another apartment or house.
Yeah, it's absolute contrast. And it's even the point, it seems to be, that Joey Pantoliano in this universe has made all of his money from buying and selling houses. Acting is just something he did on the side to get the initial start. That's what it seemed
As he says, you can't just make a living, you have to make a killing.
Yeah. But to these two guys, to Simon Williams, who's trying to break it in Hollywood, and Trevor Slattery, who had it before and wants to get it again, or didn't have it as big as he ever wanted it to be, to those two characters, hearing from somebody who has been successful in the industry that it's just a business, love, make what you can and get out of it. It's like a red rag to a bull, and I love the scenes between them. I love that there's a whole relationship that's going all the way back to when Trevor was supposed to be on South Shore Hospital with Joey Pantoliano, and he has a version of the story that he's been telling himself for years, that Joey Pants is the one that got rid of him from the show so that he could take over as the main actor. Whether that's true or not, I don't know by the end of the episode. Simon seems to think that, given the conversation they're having with Joey Pantoliano, that is true, that he forced Trevor off the show. But he seemed to be doing a lot of drugs at the time when he was filming those first couple of episodes. And we did see him take a lot of drugs in Iron Man 3. So it's possible that his memory might be not as clear of those days.
Yeah. I think I think you've said it. It's like, just everything here is so good in these scenes between the three of them. It's not just how serious they are, but it's how over the top serious, which is clearly played for that laugh.
Absolutely.
Where Trevor to Joe, you have Simon anyway telling Joe off, who's kindly opened up his house so he can do his self-tape, as well as Nestor, his chef, who is stolen from Matthew McConaughey. And so you have that kind of ridiculousness being at play here, but maybe it's not for actors, so you have Simon sort of telling him off for being condescending, and in a sense not appreciating the job. But you have Trev turn into to Joe saying, acting isn't a job. It's the single most consequential thing anyone can do with their life. And it's just fantastic.
Absolutely.
I love that came out.
Yes. And again, this is another one of those revealing moments. If you didn't get the joke in this scene, the show is probably not going to be for you. If you didn't get the joke when Trevor Slattery is saying, it's the most consequential thing in the world. And then they go back to Simon's apartment and record 3 lines, which are amazingly delivered, don't get me wrong. But it's 3 of the most inconsequential lines in all of cinema. And if you don't get that that's a joke, this definitely isn't going to be the show for you.
And yet, those 3 lines are absolutely so meaningful to the 2 of them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the way it's shot...
Yeah.
elevates it, if you know, in that sense, the elevation of these 3 sort of bog standard lines, and the meaning it has for them.
Because they spent all day running across town trying to record these 3 lines.
Exactly. And you have Simon saying, "Is it good?" and Trevor then, "It's transcendent." It's so good. You'd be crazy not to send it, I think he says. But it's just like, I really just found, how back then, back where it all started, in a sense, they do finally get the self-tape done.
Yes.
And it just sort of reflects, the opposite of what you have at Joey Pants's place. It's just really good. I think it's a really clever bit of writing as well. And this is, I just think it's excellent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And for me, the tell of how I enjoy the show is that it seamlessly then flips back to the main crux of this episode with Trevor pulling the curtain back, if you will,
quite
to reveal the
yeah.
damage. And then that pushing him forward to put the ring on. The laptop, and kind of him fulfilling his mission, if you will. And it's just... It's very seamless. Like, you go from this amazingly beautiful comedic satirical moment to them going back to them again delivering a very powerful 3 lines. And you're like, that would be really cool if I cared and if it was a real thing. But then you get straight back into the crux and the plot of this show. And you're like, okay, like, again, they pull us, they end each kind of episode in a way that is like, oh, I am intrigued enough now to go forward. And again, it's just an interesting way of just kind of, they've cut and kind of carved the episodes, if you will. Kind of just enough of a hint and a taste that you're like, oh, I'm now further intrigued in the greater plot, the greater mystery that is Simon Williams.
Well, absolutely. And, again, if there was any doubt in Trevor's mind whether Simon had powers at all or not, right there, the wall is showing Simon has powers.
Yeah.
He does ignore it and tells him that he needs he'll have pepperoni on his pizza.
Yeah,
no problem.
I do like the awkward sort of silence, that moment, but ultimately they do get their pizza together.
Yeah.
So, good day.
Absolutely.
Good day.
Absolutely.
So then, any notes from the episode, Christoph?
Yeah, just one quick one from me, which is the self-tape boots and things like that. Interestingly, for my honeymoon a few years ago, we went to LA as part of it before Hawaii, and those lots where they show, there was self-tape. Like, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I was like, only the fact that I had been there and I had seen these places, because there was one right beside the comic shop. I was like, that's real. And I was going, yeah, that's real, because it feels like something made for TV. It feels so fake. It feels like, oh, this is just a bit for the show. But no, there are these studio kind of like, where it's literally just like small, what you would consider a retail shop.
Yeah.
In any other country.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
It is, isn't it? It's like a whole industry, as they say, a whole industry built up around things that people have been doing at home effectively. It's like, well, I could go into that studio and pay a couple of quid and it could look even more professional than me doing it actually at home, but it will look like a self-tape, but it looks more professional, that kind of way. Yeah, really good. The only note I had was just about Simon and how long he's been in LA. He's been in there 8 years and has no friends. Like, poor guy. 8 years struggling, trying to find roles. Like, we know that he can't keep down any role that he gets. Jannelle absolutely hates him because he doesn't stay in a job.
No relationship either.
No relationship now. His girlfriend's left him. He goes out to watch movies during the daytime. So he really has nothing going on in his life, but he's been there doing this for 8 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Any notes from you, John?
None from me.
Fantastic.
At all. So, Derek, do you defend this episode of Marvel's Wonder Man?
I absolutely do. This was even funnier than the first episode for me. Really enjoyed it. Loved the guest star. Love the idea that by the end of their conversation with Joey Pantoliano, he's calling up his agent going, why didn't he get a call about Wonder Man as well? So he doesn't even take the criticism that the two of them give him by the end of that scene. I think that's really funny. So yes, really enjoying the show. Definitely a great two-hander. I got two great actors here who are working so well together, and this was my favorite concept. They just have to record 3 lines and they're stuck in LA for a day going place to place trying to record them. It feels like you could make a movie out of that concept, and they did a great job with it in this episode. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Definitely defend it. How about yourself, Chris? Did you defend the second episode of Marvel's Wonder Man? I'm going to say that again. How about you, Chris? Did you defend the second episode of Marvel's Wonder Man?
I do. They're similar to you and everything we've discussed. Like, it gets so intriguing as not just the an MCU property. I'm like, ooh, he has powers. What do those mean? Blah, 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 blah. Damage control. Why are they there? Like, the standard super heroic, fair sci-fi type of kind of thing that I would usually watch. But this comedic, satirical take on Hollywood, I would watch it by itself. Like, strip out the MCU part, and again, these two characters and these two actors are intriguing enough and charismatic enough that you want to watch more of them. And just them running around Hollywood. Like, if that's all we get for the next few episodes, just them running around Hollywood into those kind of traditional Hollywood-esque places, cool. Yeah. I'm down for the rest of this. Like, this is what I'm here for.
Absolutely.
So I think it's finding the right balance. I think it's finding the right level of everything. And I just want more. So cannot wait to kind of dive into each and every episode.
Excellent.
Johnners, what about yourself? Do you defend this episode of Wonder Man?
Absolutely defend this episode of Wonder Man. I really enjoyed it. I think more so than the first one. I loved the first one. I would give this 5 Joey Pantaloons out of 5. I just really enjoyed it. I just love the caper of them trying to get a self-tape done, and just having to go from pillar to post to try and get this done, and it goes full circle and they're back at Simon's. And I think within this whole thing there is that bonding moment with the sort of telling off of Joey Pants, so in that sense, his character, referenced right at the start by on the plane, with the show South Shore Hospital, is really good at, the guest star really good here with, Joey Pantoliano, playing himself, and this bond that is formed, yet there is that visible undercurrent of tension that the audience is aware of because of why Trevor is with Simon, why he's able to form this bond, this common bond of how consequential acting is, the transcendency of the art form. And I just think that's a really, really great premise again. And I absolutely am loving Ben Kingsley in this, but equally Yahya Abdul Mateen is just really good. Playing that less, just playing something less than Ben Kingsley, but stands to him.
Absolutely.
It's really, again, another great duo here.
Yeah.
One that's, cut from the same cloth in essence.
Absolutely.
And you have Trevor trying to impart his wisdom, his knowledge, his method, is just so good. So yeah, absolutely do defend this. 5 Joey Pantaloons out of 5 for me.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Fantastic. I think we need a drink.
Yep.
Certainly do. Yes, fellow quizzers, fellow defenders, welcome to our pub quiz. Yes, we've just got off the boards. We're heading to the local hostelry at 3 a.m. to sort of come down from the acting high.
Absolutely.
Just like Trevor and
2 lines.
Just like Trevor and Simon. So, question 2 from episode 2. How old was Trevor when the acting bug first hit?
Ooh, very good. Very good. Yes, that's the second question of 8. Email the answers to us at the end of the season to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com, and you could be in the chance of getting your hands on some Marvel's Wonder Man goodies. John, do you want to give the question one more time there?
Sure. How old was Trevor when the acting bug first hit?
I know how old he was when the FBI hit him in the airport. That'd be good enough?
No.
Okay, good stuff.
Too late.
Still recording early, so we don't have any feedback in on these particular episodes, but we did get a review in our first review of 2026 in from Cleveland Doctor, I think. What do you think, John? CLVLANDD, or Cleveland Doctor is how I've worked that one out.
I guess so, yeah.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
It sounds about right.
Came in just at the start of January. They said, wonderful. I totally enjoy these podcasts, and I've listened to the coverage of many of these shows. The guys do an awesome and thorough job in whatever show they're discussing, and the accents are a plus. Thank you very much.
Absolutely great stuff. Thanks so much, Cleveland Doctor.
Yeah.
Assuming we've got that correct. Really good you are enjoying our podcasts and the coverage of the shows that we do. It's great to get that feedback, and I'm glad you're really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's lovely to get reviews. We don't get reviews in very often. People tend not to use the review function on Apple Podcasts, but if you do want to leave a review, please do. I think we're at 97 reviews, so we've got 3 more to get to 100, which would be nice in our year of our 1,000th episode for the podcast, which should be coming up later in 2026 as well.
Yes, the millennium of podcasts will be coming up.
Be kind of cool, wouldn't it? I don't know what day that is.
We need to do something like host a tented village somewhere.
I don't think we have time to plan that. It's not. It's coming
agreed.
Up thick and fast, John.
Might just connect it in with your birthday. There we go.
Maybe. But we haven't got anything planned just yet. It'll probably just be a podcast at this stage.
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks so much for the review.
Yeah, thanks so much for the review, Cleveland Doctor.
I know I said we weren't going to do feedback, but we got tons and tons of feedback in. And we've got all 3 of us here, so we're going to do some feedback for episode 1 and 2 for Wonder Man in our second episode podcast. So first up, we got an email in from Coffee and Vodka with his thoughts on the first episode. He says, greetings, fellow processing defenders. No buried leads, intrigue and excellent performances. A wonderful beginning to what promises to be a great series. My only question is why they chose to dump the whole season Netflix style. Not that I'm complaining. It's nice to have access to it all at once, though it does cut down on potential water cooler buzz. Off to episode 2, 5 neurotic notes, tremulous toilets, and Guardian Slatteries out of 5. Peace and take care, Coffee and Vodka.
Great stuff, Coffee and Vodka. Great to get your first bit of feedback in for the new year, I guess.
Yeah.
As well as to all our other fellow defenders. And of course, a happy birthday to you as well. Yes. So, all the best wishes for your birthday.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Coffee and Vodka.
Yeah. We hope you're having a great one. And it's great to get your thoughts on this first episode of Wonder Man, our very own water cooler moment.
Exactly.
And really glad you're enjoying it. Yep. I would like it to be a little spaced out as well, so that we can keep the momentum and have that water cooler. But it is nice to have it drop. I just hope it really sticks with people because it certainly, I think, has stuck with me.
Thanks, Coffee and Vodka. I saw what you did with the wonderful beginning. I'm the same. Like, I wish it had more water cooler buzz, because I think this will be a flash in the pan. Everyone will chat about it this week and maybe this weekend, and then we will lose a bit of the buzz. But not even but. I prefer the Prime release schedule, which is give us 3 in the very beginning and then space it out weekly after that. I do enjoy that model, because you get that kind of, you can still binge kind of the first few episodes, and everyone kind of gets excited and there's a lot of talk, and then you do get that water cooler. Hey, what's going on? What is Slattery doing?
Exactly.
What's going on with Trev?
Yeah, and it's particularly this first episode that had the cliffhanger at the end of the episode where he didn't know who was on the other end of the phone. So that's a great moment to have people thinking for a week. It was quite cool. But we are going to stretch it out. We are going to have 2 episodes of the podcast out every single week for the next 4 weeks, talking about everything that goes on in Wonder Man. I think they probably are regretting it, because this is the highest rated Marvel TV show so far. It's been released now. They've got all the reviews have come in. I think it's at 80% from reviewers, or 85% from reviewers, and 80% from the audience, which is unheard of in the MCU over the last 4 or 5 years. Every show that has not had a major character in it has been review bombed. So this is the first one that's not being review bombed. It's so cool. So it's they're regretting putting it all out in one go, and it might disappear. If that had every week, people would be really happily watching along, I think. But hopefully a bit of word of mouth will get out there and get more people with more eyeballs.
Oh, indeed. Have confidence, Marvel. Have confidence. Great stuff, Coffee and Vodka. We also got some thoughts from Adam Downing, who says, I'm looking forward to watching this show. I know nothing about Wonder Man, and in fact, before they announced it, I never even had heard of the character. I've enjoyed the first episode so far, so I will savour the show by not binging it in one sitting. Great stuff, Adam. I think birds of a feather, dare I say it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah, I as a long-term Marvel fan, I do know Wonder Man from his West Coast Avenger days. He's changed a lot over the thing. He's been in the Avengers for years. So, but this is a completely fresh take, completely new take. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the savouring of this show. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think actually Wonder Man is in the current lineup of the Avengers. He's been brought back quite recently, but he's just one of those characters that he's just a powerful character. He's not like this character in the show. So, so you don't need to know anything going in is the positive about it. And I don't think there's that many people that have a huge amount of knowledge of the character, so it's not going to spoil their thoughts about it.
Yeah, I know his sister, Wonder Woman.
There you go.
There you go. Thanks, Adam. Over on Discord, we got some feedback. First up from Angie Arhouse, who had this to say, I just watched episode 1 and I am hooked. I haven't watched all the Marvel shows because it was getting a bit too much for me, but I was looking for something to watch and I love Sir Ben Kingsley. So I gave the show a try tonight and I am glad I did. The performances are great and this duo is going to be really fun to watch. Thanks, Angie. And they are, and it only gets better. Yeah,
definitely. Trevor's great.
Yeah.
And brought to life by Ben Kingsley, for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Really such a great performance. And just how he bounces off with Yahya Abdul-Mateen is just brilliant for me. So really glad you're enjoying this, Angie.
Absolutely.
And great to have you on board for this show.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Angie. John, I'm going to let you read the next piece of feedback because it's in from Dr. Bob.
Yes, Dr. Bob Phillips says, I love Trevor. Don't we all, Bob? Don't we all? I'd forgotten how sweet, barely getting along actor has Liverpudlian roots and so is always ready to work things to his advantage. Did not expect to be moved by Simon's Wonder Man audition and quite uncertain if we're going to have a double, triple or quadruple bluff on the powers. Yes. I just kind of quite like the fact that no one really knows who Wonder Man is, or if they do, it's very tangentially. And so in a sense, his power base is not really that important. And so I like that they're teasing it and that actually the focus of this is this character study of friendship between Simon and Trevor, but also I guess then it must be quite interesting to do for actors, but also even for the directors and cast and crew, people trying to get their foot on the ladder in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a little bit semi-autobiographical, I guess, for most people.
Yeah.
So this is all really kind of quite good, I think.
Yeah.
And Liverpudlian roots are great.
Absolutely.
Mate.
I do like the call out there, Dr. Bob, that Liverpudlians tend to get things working to their advantage.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Doing the great stuff, working things to his advantage, as well he should.
Absolutely.
And as well as everyone should as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dr. Bob. Philippe says, nice. I didn't know what to expect, and this episode got me super intrigued. Can't say where this is taking me, but I'm anxious to get there. And Sassy Geek Girl 77 over on Discord says, great start to the series. I was loving Trevor helping Simon until the end when you find out he's just scoping him out for some government agency. Ooh, yeah, interesting. Unfortunately, I didn't take down Sassy Geek Girl's name from the Discord. I can only see your screen name, but I do love it, so might as well keep it.
Yes, it is a good name. Good
Absolutely. Excellent stuff. Glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, thank you so much, Sassy Geek Girl. I hope you're extra saucy in your next piece of feedback. Now, over on Facebook, we have the one and only mathematician who had this to say. Trevor is up to his old tricks again. Has he ever had a part in an actual production, or does he always use his talent to fool people in the real world? Intriguing final 30 seconds, but this is where Disney Plus would benefit from giving us one episode per week, because the mystery caused by the phone call from an unknown man should have me thinking about it all week. Mm-hmm. I'm just about to stick on episode 2 now, 5 minutes after finishing episode 1. Didn't really enjoy the acting of Yaya in either the Aquaman movies, but he's great here as Simon. I'm getting tall Kevin Hart vibes. Interesting to see where they take us from here. It's also amazing how Marvel can get you thinking about tiny details as if it's the most important thing in your life. I.e., what was the low-tone, dramatic music over the Marvel banner at the beginning? I want to settle on it just being the first content of 2026, reminding us that this is the year Doom is on his way. But being a spotlight production, I thought the idea was to remain detached from the bigger story. It's 4 seconds of music. It shouldn't matter, but Marvel makes you think everything matters. I had to rewind and rewatch the first 5 minutes because I realized I wanted to watch the show properly. And instead, all I was thinking about was the banner music.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Now you know what it's like to be a podcaster on Marvel TV shows, because you suddenly obsess about just little lines and little moments in a show that make absolutely no difference to the overall story, especially if you're like you're doing, sending your feedback on the first episode before you watch the second episode. So suddenly something stands out to you in an episode and it doesn't matter at all by the time you get to the end of the series, but it's the most important thing when you watch it first. I love the idea that it could have been some notes coming into this year of doom, that the first production that they put out could be giving you some ominous music, but I think it is just the Marvel Spotlight tune.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you're enjoying Abdul Mateen in the role of Simon. Certainly, I think I think the last time we had talked about him on the podcast was with his role in Watchmen, which was also absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So really glad you're enjoying him in this role as Simon.
And he plays multiple different type of characters in Watchmen as well, if you haven't seen it. So highly recommend him checking that out if you haven't. Brilliant stuff. Thanks, Mathematician.
Yeah, thanks, Mathematician.
Thanks, Mathematician.
Also on Facebook, Heather Wallace says, first episode and I'm intrigued. I like Marvel best when the stories are genre-based and just happen to have people with superpowers. So this genre of a day in the life of a struggling actor who has superpowers has my attention. Good stuff, Heather. Really glad that it's got you all intrigued and looking forward to your feedback across all these episodes.
Absolutely. And finally, for episode 1, Ray has his thoughts. He says, I've watched 2 episodes and I'm really enjoying it so far. I've seen comments online of people not interested because it's all talking, no action. But to be honest, the deep dive into show business and both Yaya and Ben's acting is just next level. Trevor and Simon have drawn me in. Looking forward to how it unfolds. I almost kind of don't want there to be superheroes or superhero elements to get in the way. This journey of trying to make it in a cutthroat industry is all the entertainment I need. Excellent show.
Great stuff. Thanks, Ray, for that feedback.
Absolutely.
Good to get your feedback in as well.
Yeah.
On a Defenders show. Excellent
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you're enjoying it. It's going to be such a good journey for you, I think
so.
based on your comments.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that one of the cool things about this, for me, definitely, podcasting on the show, the way we're doing it, is it really feels like when we were doing Daredevil and the Defender shows back on Netflix, because, all those episodes came out on one day, and we spread it out over a couple of weeks or even months at sometimes. So our listeners were a little bit ahead of us, a little bit behind us at times, but we were able to stick to doing it that way. So it really feels like the old days again. So nice to hear from one of our wonderful fellow Defenders from back then as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Great stuff. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Ray.
I think it's time to get on to our episode 2 feedback as well.
Yes, for episode 2, Coffee and Vodka says, greetings, fellow auditioning Defenders. Backstory, bond building, and Joe Pantoliano. A nice slow build with what feels like real chemistry between Yaya and Ben. Also, an almost reality show style. Peek behind the Hollywood curtain. Splashed in, there's some subtle humour, and so far, so good. 5 pilfering pants, sentence fragments, and referential rings out of 5. Peace and take care. Coffee and Vodka.
I was trying to work out what you meant by pilfering pants there. I guess that's Joey Pantoliano stealing the role.
Exactly.
Is what that is. Not somebody stealing someone's underwear.
And the sentence fragments is, I think, from one of Trevor's lines around, I wouldn't give a split sentence.
That's it, yes. Yes, I don't deal in sentence fragments.
It's saying to Agent Cleary, I think.
That's it. Fantastic. Glad you're enjoying it, Coffee Vodka.
Yeah, good stuff. That's 2 5s in a row. See how that continues. Good stuff, Coffee and Vodka.
Yeah, thanks, Coffee and Vodka. And I didn't know where you were going with pilfering pants, but now it makes sense.
There we go.
Over on Discord, we had some feedback for episode 2 from Joe Herbers, who had this to say. We watched the first 2 episodes. We liked them. It's a slow burn on a superhero front, which may be why they decided to drop so many, I guess. In episode 2, I didn't recognize Joey Pants at first, even though he was in The Last of Us not too long ago. By the way, we had to turn on subtitles immediately, even before Kingsley showed up. Not sure why the dialogue seemed harder to understand in this show than others. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, I actually even forgot Joey was in Last of Us. That's how long ago it was.
I actually was rewatching it over the period because I'm still locked in the house with my foot in a boot. So I was rewatching the second season of The Last of Us and was like, oh my God, I completely forgot. So, I don't think I even mentioned it in the episode when Joey Pants turned up.
Yes, and fellow Defenders, that's not a cry for help to the outside world.
I'm not locked in the house.
It's not locked in the house.
I have a fractured ankle. My fault. I did it. John didn't push me down the stairs.
Blink twice, Derek, if they actually did.
Absolutely. This is not painting me in a good light at all.
Help me up. It's okay.
But yes, no, Joe, I feel your pain on subtitles. At least from my side, I guess it's just age. And to make sure that we get the notes right for the podcast.
Yeah, and I like it. There is a lot of Shakespearean dialogue when that's quoted by Ben Kingsley, and the two of them have a good patter going back and forth, and I don't want to miss any of the lines that they're saying either.
Yeah.
So, I do tend to have the subtitles on as well.
And I'm not insinuating age here, Joe, so apologies. Yes.
I'm just insinuating age for you guys.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, well, absolutely.
Definitely, yes, Chris. Thanks, Joe. Philippe Gurgle says, for someone who has never been a fan of Trevor, he is captivating me in this show. Looking forward to the rest of the series. Despite that, I convinced my wife not to binge the show to let the episodes sink in. Oh, she must hate us, Philippe.
Exactly. Really pleased you're getting into Trevor, Felipe. I must say, he's always been one of my favourites, but I think it's just the comedy side of it.
It is. Yeah. I just remember that first reveal in Iron Man 3 when we saw that, and I remember talking to you about it, Chris, and we all got the joke and laughed along with it, and then suddenly you see online all these people that were really hard done by because the Mandarin had turned out to be a joke. It's like, well, he didn't really. The Mandarin was still there. The Mandarin's kind of Aldrich Killian, and Trevor Slattery is just this broken actor being put forward in front of a camera. We all liked the joke quite a lot. And I've kind of always liked him ever since. So we've all kind of liked him ever since. But I know a lot of people blamed Ben Kingsley for not having the real Mandarin as they saw it in the MCU, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part of having him there and continuing. Like, he's only going to get better.
Exactly.
Now as the series progress.
Yeah.
Yes.
And whatever happens after the series, I suppose. But it is a spotlight, so we'll have to see.
Never know. We've already heard rumblings from Andrew Guest, the show creator and showrunner and writer, talking about the possibility of a second season because it's been very popular.
Excellent stuff. Well, good on it. That's what I say. Good on it. Yeah. Thanks for the pay. Sassy Geek Girl 77 says, I'm not a fan of Agent Cleary. I really thought Simon didn't realise he had powers until that happened in his apartment. I really enjoyed them running all over the place, trying to find a place for the self-tape, only to end up back at his apartment. Trevor seemed like he didn't want to use that ring for Cleary, even after finding that huge crack in the wall. I can't wait to watch the next episode, but I'm trying not to binge it all at once. Thanks for the feedback, Sassy Geek Girl. Really glad you're looking not to binge it. I feel like we're responsible for a movement. I
was going to say, so many people keep saying that they're not doing it. Like, oh my God, this is great.
But I think there's going to come a point, though.
Yes.
We're already a bit further ahead than episode 2. We can definitely say that because we recorded a couple of episodes in advance. And I know there's a point that's going to come where you'll go, well, it's only half an hour or it's only 25 minutes. I'll watch the next one.
Fine.
And that's
absolutely fine.
Just in between when you're taking a break and you're refilling your coffee or getting another glass of wine for the next episode, just pop in your feedback on the episode that you've just watched. That's all we ask.
That's absolutely
fantastic. Back over to Facebook. We have some feedback in from Mathematician. He says, I nearly spat my brew out when I saw the Royal Court in this episode. I've been there so many times to watch theatre, comedy, music, that it felt surreal seeing it on a show like this, even just an old scrunched up photo. Agent Cleary from Department of Damage Control, Ms. Marvel, Spider-Man No Way Home is back, and I always appreciate the little crossovers they provide. I had to check out Ron Jenkins from Carrie. I hate that programme, the bane of my childhood evenings. And yet, Sir Ben Kingsley played Ron Jenkins back in the 60s. Clever to weave it in here. Love Joey Pants, steals the show, and a few crackers I enjoyed. Midnight Run and the Fugitive movies. The look on Trevor's face when Pants said, hell, if I were British, they'd have knighted me by now. Absolutely boss. No idea where this show is headed at this stage, but I am enjoying it.
Great stuff, Mathematician. Yeah, totally with you around the Royal Court. It was kind of interesting to see that. Yeah, and been there myself many a time.
Yeah.
Not so much lately, but yeah, certainly as a kid. And yeah, the Corrie thing, I totally get you around the bane of childhood evenings, having to watch the Corrie, Emmerdale, and EastEnders. It was kind of like turgid, sort of Kafka-esque pain, having to watch these shows.
For our American listeners, these are British soap operas, which are all dark and grim. They're not like the American soap operas, which are really brightly lit and all about people sleeping with each other. These ones are about people murdering each other or stealing each other's wives or whatever. Yeah, they're much darker. I was very lucky as a kid.
Trains or planes falling on remote Pennine towns like in Emmerdale.
Oh yeah, that used to be called Emmerdale Farm until a plane crashed into it and turned it into Emmerdale. Yeah, I was really lucky as a kid because my mom only watched one soap opera because it was on between 6:30 and 7 o'clock, and it was an Australian one called Neighbours. So we got to see the bright sunshine and hot-looking people running around rather than EastEnders.
Oh, we saw that as well.
So we only had to watch that one half hour.
And Home and Away.
Yeah,
that was always good. Shortland Street at lunchtime.
Nope. Literally only Neighbours because that was my mom's half hour.
Sullivan's, you name it, loads of them. But yeah, definitely remember having to sort of pretend. Well, I definitely remember just sitting, having to watch it, and then deciding just to leave as I got older and older.
Yeah, exactly.
My only one I would have watched, it would have been Murder, She Wrote, and that's not even the same thing.
It's not even the soap opera.
Not even the same, but like that's just a positive.
With Owly, little to-it-to-woo.
Angela Lansbury.
Yeah. She's like an owl. She can actually rotate her neck around 360 degrees. It's a fact.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I did not know that. That is an interesting fact.
Wow, we're off topic here.
But speaking of other facts, thanks, Mathematician. And we also got some feedback from Ray, who had this to say. This just gets better. There's a masterclass in acting, and it's on show in this series. I'm kind of curious now how they explain Simon's power. I doubt we'll see Zemo giving them to him, but the damage control portion was quite good. The bulk of the entertainment, however, just continues to be the two leads, Yaya and Sir Ben. Absolutely riveting to watch them on screen together.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Great
Thanks,
stuff,
Ray. Yeah, it's going to get interesting. I'm hoping they'll dive into it. For those who were like, why is he mentioning Zemo? In the comic books, Baron Zemo does and has a lot to do with Simon Williams getting his powers, but this is a separate, completely different thing. I do not think we will see Baron Zemo from all of those shows. Yeah. From the shows and the films coming in. I say that. Who knows? But
he's out in the run somewhere.
He's out
in the
run,
world,
yeah.
isn't he? After Captain America and the Winter Soldier. The end of that series.
Didn't you get it? Oh no, that was Marvel Zombies where he got killed.
Yes.
In the raft.
Yes.
That's slightly MCU adjacent, I guess.
It's not in the central timeline.
No. Exactly.
Excellent. Yes. Thanks so much, Ray, for your thoughts on the second episode.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Ray. And finally, for episode 2, Heather Wallace says, next time anyone says Marvel stories are so unrealistic, I'm going to point to the Department of Damage Control, setting arrest quotas to ensure their next fiscal year's budget. So accurate. Indeed it is. I think the fellow civil servant can appreciate all of that stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Wasn't that a whole series of The Wire was all about quotas in the police department just being passed back and forth between departments?
How you can hide stuff in data.
Yes, exactly. Well, we all know about that. We may not all work for government departments, but we all know about hiding stuff in data. True. Definitely.
Yes.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks, Heather, for your feedback. And thanks, everyone, for your feedback on this first couple of episodes of Marvel's Winderbaum. We want to keep hearing your thoughts about it for the rest of the season. As you can see there, you can now leave your feedback over on Discord. You can find the Discord link in our show notes right here, or you can pop on over to our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/TV Podcast Industries. There's a spoiler post up there for each episode of the series of Wonder Man so far. Or you can email us with all your thoughts to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com.
Please support the podcast by sharing it around, because a bit like Trevor Slattery, sharing the podcast is, of course, sharing the lovelies.
Yeah,
sharing the lovely.
The lovelies.
Oh,
absolutely.
Share the lovelies.
And of course, you can support us over at Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. Just look for TV Podcast Industries.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Excellent stuff. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll speak to you in the next episode 3 of Wonder Man.
Yes, remember, fellow defenders, we'll be back for Wonder Man Episode 3, Pacoima. Till next time, keep watching, keep listening, and of course, keep defending.
Bye.
Bye, me lovelies.
Bye.
Quiet on set.
This is the Defenders Podcast on TV Podcasts. A little spittle there.
Yummy.
No, I need windscreen wipers on the screen.
Quiet on set. But you're totally right, Chris. Like, I think these scenes between... but you're totally right, Chris. I think these scenes where Simon's helping out... but you're totally right, Chris. I think these scenes where Trevor's helping out Simon throughout the episode are just really, really fun, and they get worse and worse as the episode goes on. Quiet on set. And again, this is another one of those, what's it called? A something moment.
Oscar moment.
No. Quiet on set.